Welcome to our webinar titled "You Shall Know the Truth." Our goal here is to find whatever aspect of the truth that we can find, and our goal is to live the truth, and each person will have a different idea of what the truth is, and choose to use certain guidelines or goalposts to measure what they consider to be truth. So, the one thing that we are concentrating on nowadays is the Christ letters, and we have tested it, put it through the ringer, and we consider it at this point to be the highest truth that we have encountered. And so we want to use this at this point as our goalpost, and to share it in whichever way we see fit. And as we go along, we will learn more and understand more about these truths that we have encountered, and how to live it, how to manifest it. So we're going to start with the prayer that was given to us through these texts. And we found it to be a very effective prayer, and we have analyzed it too, and see that it is logical and it makes a whole lot of sense, and it helps us to understand more about God, our source of being, whatever you want to call him or call it. So we are going to discuss this letter tonight to the best of our ability, and invite our master, our teacher, to guide us as well. So Richard, you could start to read the prayer, and then we will go through it afterwards.
Heavenly Parent, you are my life, my constant support, my health, my protection, my perfect fulfillment of every need, and my highest inspiration. I ask you to reveal the true reality of yourself to me. I know it is your will that I shall be fully illumined, that I may better receive awareness of your presence within and around me. I believe and know that this is possible. I believe that you protect and maintain me within perfect love. I know that my eventual purpose is to express you. As I speak to you, I know that you are perfectly receptive of me, for you are universal, loving intelligence, which has so marvelously designed me and this world and brought it into visible form. I know that as I ask you to speak to me, I am sending out a conscious searchlight into your divine consciousness. And as I listen, you will be penetrating my human consciousness and coming ever closer to my increasingly receptive mind and heart. I therefore commit myself and my life into your hands.
Okay. So everybody, people look at prayer in various ways, and what I've noticed for myself personally is that I used to pray, and then I stopped praying because I never see the use after a while, because I used to pray for a lot of stuff and it never comes, and so I start to wonder what is going on, you know. And as I understand a little bit more and a little bit more about God, I used to think that it doesn't make any sense to pray, you know, just, you know, get the things in your experience what you want by thinking about it and draw it in your experience. But then, since these letters came to me, and this prior, I start to understand a lot of things differently. And so when I pray now, I pray with meaning, because I have a better understanding of what prayer really is. And so when I look at this prayer here, it says, Father, Mother, Life. You are my life. Now, what does that mean? You know, we could pray and we could say these things, but the question is, what does it really mean? You know, and when we look at this first part of the prayer, Father, Mother, Life, then what it's saying here is acknowledging our source of being, our God, as most people would refer to him or it as our father, as our parent, right? Father, mother, our parents, right? And when we look at the culture of in the Bible, all what we see about God is in the masculine, you know. All we see is in the masculine, and that is for a reason, you know, because men like to dominate and always want to make sure that women are subjected to their influence and their power, and they make women like a less of a creature. So women is there to serve. And that was the reason why God is seen as just masculine. Because Richard and I, we had a very deep conversation on this. And what came out of it is that we realized that God is not only male, right? God is not only in the masculine gender, but he is also in the feminine gender. Because when I did some research, I actually discovered that the word spirit, because, you know, everybody is saying God is spirit. You know, that is one thing almost everybody has in common, that God is spirit. That is no dispute. But when you look in the Hebrew meaning for spirit, the gender of spirit is actually feminine, right? The gender for spirit is feminine. So it stands to reason that God is not only masculine but feminine, and God operates based on depending on what operation is being taking place. One of these aspects of God is going to be manifested in these operations, right? So you will, if depending on the situation, it may be the father that is taking over the situation, or it could be the mother taking over the situation, depending on what the situation is. As we know how mothers are more caring. They hold things together, you know. And so when God is working in a situation where it needs tenderness, it needs love and compassion, and that kind of stuff, then the mother aspect of God is in play. You know, when it needs more of a situation of provision and protection and all that kind of stuff, then the father aspect is in play. So both aspect of God is always available, and in play. It was in play in creation, and it is in play throughout creation, right? It never stops, because it takes both in order to even make the slightest thing, you know, to happen. So father, mother is totally appropriate when we are addressing God and understanding about God. Life, father, mother, life. There's a even in the Bible itself, and Jesus had alluded to that as well. I've said it. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Right. So without God, there is no life, because everything comes from Him. Everything comes through God, right? Through our source of being. I'm using the word God because most people are acquainted with that word, with that terminology. I have grown to love the word father or mother, and as Richard love to use the term parent, you know, because it gives me a more intimate, you know, I feel more of an intimate relationship, you know, because when you look at your earthly parents, you feel free to go to your parents, you know, you feel free to go to your parents for anything, you know. So I'm just talking about that. I like to use the word father or mother or parent instead of using the word God. But most people like to use the word God. So I will still, you know, allude to our source of being as God as well. So we know that God is life. Without God, there is no life, right? Absolutely no life. So we see the appropriateness here, father, mother, life, right? Now look at you are my life, right? So this is an affirmation acknowledging the fact that God is our life. And when we understand the importance of that, right, then we will know that we don't have to fear, you know, we don't have to fear that somebody is going to come and take our life, because our life is God. Our life is our source of being, and nobody can take it from us, just like nobody can take our father, our mother, our source of being. Nobody can take that from us. The same way nobody can take our life from us, because if you have, as long as you have your source of being, you have life, you know. So we don't need to worry about these kind of things. So somebody will come and ask, so how is it that somebody can come and shoot you and they could kill you or those kind of stuff? What do you say about that? And I would say that's a good question, because I know people who hear me say this, that will come to their mind as well, and that would be a very pertinent question to ask. So when we look at that, when we start to understand who we are, right? Because we take our attributes from our source of being. That means we can also create as our Father creates, we can also create. And what happened is that we create our own experiences, right? And what is happening is that when we go about our lives every day, we are creating, right? We are creating the next move. We are creating it. We are creating tomorrow. When tomorrow comes, is what we have created we're going to get, right? So the question is asked, what about if God is our life, why is it that we can lose our lives? I mean, right, people can take our lives and stuff like that. The thing is that you can look at life into different aspects. You can look at life as the animation of the physical body, right? The physical body, the life of the physical body, right? That life of the physical body is, you could say, is a transient life, right? And whatever happened to that life, the body could lose the life. But in most cases, when the body lost its life, it's not because, you know, somebody randomly take it away from us, but it's because of the things we have created to come in our experience, right? That has caused all these things to be happening to us. So we can lose our lives in various ways. We could lose the life by our habits, the habits that we generate, the habits that we form, various habits, like we eat, like, you know, the stuff that we eat, put in our body, because the body lives and it gets its nutrients from what we put into it, right? And if we put good stuff in it, you know, it will raise the vibration of the body and we will live longer lives, more healthy lives. But if we put a lot of crazy stuff in it and put too much of it at the same time, then we are shortening our lives. So those kind of habits can take our lives away. We could have other hobbies or other habits that we form as well, like you know, you things that you do as a matter of cause and effect, sowing and reaping. You do a lot of crazy stuff out there, and it comes right back at you. And sometimes it comes back at you in such a forceful way that the body itself cannot withstand the onslaught that comes onto it, and then you lose that life. So there are various ways you could lose a life, but it's not because somebody come and take it away from you, but because of the stuff that we do. We bring these things in our experience, and sometimes that happens. It results in us losing the life, and that is just the life of the body. Now, the life, which is the real life, nobody can take that. The life, which is the spiritual life, because when the body dies, you still live, right? You still live because you are still a part of this big picture, right? You're still a part of this big picture, so you still live, right? The body is gone, but the real you still live, and that life, nobody can take it. How you live it is a different thing. How you experience it is a different thing. But if we follow, right? If we follow the guidance of our Father, we can live the life in an abundant kind of way, which is referred to as abundant life, right? So ye that have the truth have life and have it more abundantly, right? So you will still have life, but it all depends on the quality of life you will have, and that will depend on the level of your consciousness and how we relate to the things that our Father have brought into our lives, and how much we follow these things, right? Because we have to follow these laws that are set down, because if we don't, then the law of cause and effect is going to take place, right? You do something, something else is going to take place because of that, right? So before I go any further, any comments or questions regarding this so far?
I can say everything that you said. I understand, and I definitely agree with everything dealing with, the cause and effect. At some point, everything will return to you, even though, as you said, people may say, "Oh, how can that life be taken?" It's not necessarily that the life is being taken; that the cause and effect that you put out there, the energy does return back, and that can snatch this version of the life. But as you said, the real source of that continues on. And I definitely agree and understand with what you were saying as far as the masculine feminine principle of God. And anything spirit has masculine and feminine nature. Everything in existence have that. That is just an immutable law. So to me, it's really interesting how modern society tends to focus on one aspect of the creation, but ignore the completely other half of the full creation. And this is why I would say things are, in a lot of sense, the way it is, and why a lot of understanding is misconstrued, because we're ignoring the feminine aspect, the receptive aspect of creation.
Right.
So I agree with what you were saying. I understand, definitely.
But what I would also like to say is that maybe 98% of the religions in the world are based on patriarchal systems.
Mm-hmm.
So for most religions, God is usually seen from the viewpoint of being masculine. There are there are a couple of Indian religions that have as their avatars or the gods or whatever, they're female. So in those particular communities or societies, they do not see God as father. They see God as mother. Mm-hmm. So you get the two extremes now. You have one patriarchal set of people who says that God is father, and that's the end of that. And then you get another one or two other religions who are very matriarchal, and they say that God, or they worship God as a female. But there are few, and I'm sure there are one or two around, that will refer to God as Father God and Mother God. They have at least that right. So the other groups who are patriarchal, they got to figure out about Mother God as well as Father God working together. And the ones that believe in Mother God only got to figure out that you can't just have Mother God, you also have to have Father God if you're going to have a creation. If you're not going to have a creation, then it doesn't really matter. And which would simply mean that neither one of the two, as separate individuals or entities, would have really no purpose. It's like a man. It's like a man that doesn't have children, whether he's married or whatever. If he's just born as a man and says, "Oh, I'm the king of everything," but he doesn't have a seed, he hasn't created anything, he's useless. And the same thing goes for a woman. So that's why man and woman comes together, because once man and woman come together, they can create.
Yeah.
They can create.
And the thing is that because we are so adamant in our in this, not realizing the truth of this thing, we tend to, we don't really get the full benefit in our relationship with God, because we're ignoring. It's like you go to, it's like you have your parents, you have your mother and you have your father, but you totally ignore your mother, right? You don't value her. You just, it's like you don't even know that she's there. You walk as if you don't know that she's there. Everything you go, dad, 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 and they'll be together there, dad, dad, dad. It's the same thing. You don't recognize your mother. A lot of times, your mother, what your mother have for you, you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like she's holding it away from you, but it's a matter that you don't claim it because you don't recognize her in the first place. You know, you don't get that love that she has for you, that hug and that tender loving care. You don't get that because you don't go to her. You're always going to your father, and your father is only giving you the stuff that fathers are able to give. But you lack that loving tenderness and sometimes, you know, in some sense, protection too, because even though the father provide protection, the mother provide for you a greater amount of protection, because her instinct is to keep everything away from you that will hurt you. You know, a lot of times the father will just, you know, don't really care about a lot of stuff. Say, let the boy do this, let the boy, let the girl do. But then the mother said, no, you know what I'm saying? So the mother is always very protective, caring. And when we don't, and when we do not acknowledge that, a lot of times we don't get it, you know.
Also, the thing about a mother is, even though you might be running to your father all the time, you may not even know that your mother is the person who's washing your clothes, preparing the meal and leaving the meal there for you, calling up to school to find out what's going on with grades, calling up and making the doctor's appointment. I mean, I'm just kind of looking at this from a very physical perspective. Mm-hmm. But what I'm actually trying to say is that with Mother God or the Holy Spirit, they're always looking out for you, whether you know it or not. You know, whether you know or not. So that's why when you go to the second line, it says, what does it say? After you are my life. It says you're my constant support.
Right.
My constant support. Mm-hmm. So within this, when you read this whole letter, the meditation prayer, you will see how you'll come to understand the roles of Father and Mother God in in our life, well, not only in our life, but in the whole universe, because father and mother are responsible for the universe. Every little thing, every little ant, every little piece of dust that you see a piece of dust or something, or a small ant, you may not think it's significant, but even that possesses father and mother God consciousness, but at their level. So wherever you go in the universe, everything is connected to the Father and Mother God. So this is why we can clearly say the that's why you can say Father, Mother, Life.
Yes.
Father, Mother, Life. All right, that's my piece.
Yes, that's right. That's well said. And so we go to where it says, "You are my health." Right? My health. And that part is very important as well. What this is telling us who our source of being, who and what our source of being is. Saying, "You are my health" is a reminder that normally, right? Normally, if someone is people would go and pray, right, and ask God for things, and if they're sick, they ask God to heal them. They say, "God, please heal me, help me with this, help me with that," and that kind of stuff. But what this is saying is that you are my health. You are my health. It's saying that you don't need to ask me to heal you. You already have everything that it takes to be healed. Because if you have me, and you have me in the way in which you should have me, all you have to do is just to acknowledge what I am to you, and I will become that to you. Health is ours, right? Health is not something we ask for. Health is already provided for us, like everything else, right? Everything is already provided. It's like this. If somebody put $1 million in an account for you, and say, hey Van, I put $1 million in your account, and it's for you to use anyhow you want to use it. And you find yourself one day with no money. You're not gonna go back to the person and say, "Hey, I need some money." No. The person will look on you and say, "What do you mean? So what did you do with that $1 million I gave you? I just gave you $1 million. You use it off already?" I said, No. I didn't use it. And so how you come to me asking more for more money? And the person would maybe ignore you, because it must look at you like you must be crazy or something, right? But then if you recognize that you already have it, then the only thing you're going to go and ask the person for is, how do I get it? I mean, I know I have it here, but how do I access it? How do I utilize it? And they say, okay, here is a card. You just use this card anywhere you go, and you know what I'm saying? Or you could give you a bank account number and say, this is the account number. You could go to the bank and draw money anytime, right? So you don't ask the person for the money anymore. you ask, if you're gonna ask for something, the only thing you're gonna ask for is how to access it, right? Same with health. If you find that you're not healthy for some reason, you have done a lot of stuff, a lot of crazy stuff, and brought down a lot of things on your body because you didn't even know what you were doing. And sometimes we know what we're doing, but we just don't care. And but still, it doesn't really matter whether you know or not. As long as you find yourself in that situation, health is already provided for you, and the Father is not going to go and take it away because you did something crazy. No. Because that is what unconditional love is. He didn't give it to you because you were good. And when he gave it to you, he didn't take it back because you become bad again. That would be conditional. But the Father is totally unconditional, you know. So he gives you help. He gives us help. And all we need to do is to acknowledge it and be thankful for it. And if we don't know how to access it, we go to him and pray and ask him, how do I access this help that you gave to me? You know, you say it's mine and I believe it with all my heart. I just don't know how to take hold of it.
Van, question to you, brother.
Yes.
This is for Van. How do you see when you read the letter there? When you read the prayer, when it says that you're my health and my protection, how do you see that? How do you see? How do you envision that in your life? Am I making sense with the question?
Yeah, I'm just with the protection, with the health, you know, as was said, it's when I hear that automatically I think of vibration. Automatic, that's the first thing. As what Seth was saying, the health is already there. As he said, it's unconditional love, which we are formed from. So no matter what circumstance we are in health-wise, as long as we can get to that frequency, we can tap into that love that's of God, which is what God is, which is what made us, and just change the frequency of whatever, you know, ill that we're having. It's work. It's not easy. It's easier said than done, but it's possible. That's when I hear that. That's what I think of.
Okay, gotcha. You're on track. You're on the right track.
Right. Right. All right. So, so you are my help, my constant support. And Richard was touching on that a little bit. My constant support, and that is very important. That little line right there. You are my constant support. Constant means it's never stopped. You know, it's an ongoing thing. It never cease. You know, it's like you turn on a tap and just leave it, just walk away and leave it. You just keep running until you go back and turn it off. Right. So you are my constant support. So it is very important to understand that, because there are times when it seems like, you know, the father or mother is absent, you know, based on the experience that we are having at the time. And so we start to wonder what's going on. This is very important, because what this prayer is saying to us is it doesn't really matter how you feel and what the situation is and what you do, what you did, what you're about to do or whatever, because the unconditional love applies here as well. That once you, that is a part of creation, because everything was created for us. right? Everything was, we were not being created, and then God said, okay, what should I do for these people now? No. When we get on the scene, everything was already there.
Mm.
You see what I mean? Everything was already there, right? It's just for us to understand and become aware of these things, right? So the support was already in place, and it was in place in such a way where it cannot be revoked. So it never stopped. It never ceased. Like, so one day, okay, you know, this guy is crazy and he's doing all these kind of stuff and he's so wicked, he's so this, so I'm not gonna support him no more. No. The only time we will not feel that support, or will not be aware of it, is when we, for some reason, has removed ourselves from it. But it never stops. Once we come to understand and come to our senses and start moving in the right direction again, we are going to walk right into it again, because it's always there. You know, it's like the ocean. The ocean is always there, but you're not always in it. You know, the only time you're gonna get you're gonna feel the ocean is when you go to it. But when you go in the ocean and you come out, the water is still there, exactly as you left it. You could go back 10 years and you're going to jump back into it and it's still there. The support of our Father, Mother, source of being is always there, like a constant flowing river that never can ever run dry. The source is, it can never be depleted. So that is very important for us to understand. When we are experiencing some stuff, we can always go back to this to say, you know, he is constantly there to support us. We just have to acknowledge it and understand it.
My perfect fulfillment of every need and my highest inspiration. Van, when you hear this or you read it, my perfect fulfillment of every need and my highest inspiration, what comes to mind?
That is a little tricky, that one. Inspiration, I grasp that a lot more.
Okay.
The inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
The pursuing of knowledge and understanding to the best of your human capability. To me, that sums up the inspiration aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But the first part is
the perfect fulfillment. Look at it and read it, and you'll see. It's not difficult as you may be thinking. My perfect fulfillment of every need, I already got the highest inspiration. So the perfect fulfillment of every need.
I get where it's coming from. To fulfill the perfect fulfillment, to pretty much get anything you want in this form of existence, you have already built within. The inspiration is understanding and pursuing the knowledge of that, and trying to understand more of yourself by really understanding more of the source creation, God, the Mother, Father, Spirit within yourself. You would have all the needs that you want. But then again, you may also not even, you may come to the realization you don't even need those particular things that you think you need, actually. It's just, it's just the word, the need aspect of it.
Okay, so let me
Well, I ain't finished yet.
okay.
I ain't finished yet. When I think about the perfect fulfillment of every need. It's simply that whatever need you may have now, today, tomorrow, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, those needs have already been taken care of. It is now left up to you or I to acknowledge that and accept it. Because sometimes we only think about giving, or taking. But the relationship between God, man, and his creation is a relationship of give and take. It's a relationship of give and take. So when God gives us, when we give God the word I want to say is, when we give God the respect of acknowledgement, and God gives to us, then he wants you also to give to others. You see where I'm going with this? So anything, of course, in the Christian world is referred to as blessings, but for the sake of a better word right now, we're going to use the word blessing. So any blessings that come to you, you should always be willing to share those blessings with others.
Mhm.
Simply because not every individual might have the same kind of connection that you have that allows you to get all the stuff. Later in the letters, you're going to read where our elder brother asks if you walk into your home and found that it was ransacked, the TV going, your best stereo set going, whatever. What do? Do you just go crazy and think, let me find this SOB and kill him? Or do you ask yourself immediately, wonder what kind of a situation is going on with this individual that made him do something like this? But at the same time, you're also saying to yourself, this is not important, because with the Father, I know the Father knows I. So everything that I've lost here will easily be replaced by the Father when I speak to the Father. See? So when I think about perfect fulfillment of every need, that's how I view it. Of course, highest inspiration, of course, means connecting to the source, because there's no inspiration. There's nobody can give you higher inspiration than the source himself. Okay, Mr.
Yes. And what Richard said there is, matter of fact, exactly what I was about to say when he talked about everything that you can ever think of is already provided. So that's a perfect fulfillment. And you notice it says fulfillment. That means it's already being fulfilled. It's already being taken care of. It's like you're coming to my house and you're gonna spend a week there, and there are certain things that you're going to need, and you gave me the list of stuff that you're gonna now need and stuff like that. And when you come there, you look around and you realize that everything is already there. And you might look and you might even see that you might think that everything is not there too. But because you look and you didn't see it. So if you come and ask me about it, I will tell you where it is. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you where it is, because the thing is, although everything is provided, sometimes we just don't know where to find it. And and sometimes it's because also of our faith. Because if I tell you, look, man, everything is there, and you might not believe me. So you might decide to go out and buy extra stuff because you didn't believe me when I tell you that everything was there. And you waste your time to go out there and wait and spend unnecessary money to buy these things when I already provided there. Just because you come and you didn't see it on the counter, or you didn't see it in your line of sight, you assume that it was not there because you didn't see it, you know. But with the Father, our source of being, everything is perfectly supplied. When it's a perfectly supplied, it means that nothing is left out, and there is nothing you can imagine. There's nothing you could actually imagine in your mind that is not already there. So that is what the perfect fulfillment is. And to touch on something that Richard said too, just real quick, about if somebody come into your house and start to take all your stuff, you know, how you would react. And most of us, I believe, would react in a way of apprehension. We would say, hey, you know, I'm be scared, especially if the guy came and took some very valuable stuff. And we will react these ways because we don't understand the depth of what we just read, that everything is already perfectly full, is a perfect fulfillment of all our needs, right? And so even though a person will come and take the most valuable stuff from you, when we understand the depth of this, we will know that, okay, there's more where that came from, you know. And because the guy came and took it because of his ignorance, because he doesn't believe that it is already being provided for him, so he doesn't have to take mine, you know. Because if he knew that, he wouldn't come and take mine, right? He would go and get his own.
I apologize, y'all. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I went blank for a few. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you hear what I was saying?
Oh, he didn't hear what you were saying.
No, for a good while, somebody called and knocked me out for a minute.
Because I could see you, but I did not know that you were here yet. Yeah, but just to do a quick recap on what I said, I was saying that the perfect fulfillment it means that it does. If you come into my house, did you hear that part? If you come to my house and I provide stuff for you, you give me a list. Did you hear that part?
No.
Okay, so I was saying, if you come to my house and you provide, you told me everything that you're going to need, and if I provide every single thing that you want, but you did not believe me, so you come and you didn't see all the stuff that you needed, and you decide to go and buy it for yourself, or try to take it from somebody for that matter, not realizing,
okay,
right? Not realizing that it is already there. All you need to do is to come and ask me where it is, and then I would tell you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we miss out on things. You're hearing me, right? You hear
Yes, I remember they said it's not in your line of sight.
Right. So,
but it's there.
It is there. So a lot of times we miss things because we are depending on our own five senses to detect it. And if we cannot detect it with our five senses, we assume that it is not there. So you come in the house and you didn't see it, and you didn't smell it, and you didn't feel it. So as far as you're concerned, it's not there. So you go and you buy it, right? So with our source of being, everything is provided. But some of these things we are not going to recognize it if we try to recognize it in the natural form. Because it is for us to really experience the things that God has already provided, right? We have to be at a certain place to receive it, right? And if we try to rationalize it, to say, man, I don't see it, and I don't, and this thing that I need right now is so big, and there is no way for me to get this. I don't know anybody with that kind of money. I don't have any friend that I could go to in order to get this. So as far as I'm concerned, it is out of my sight. It is out of my reach. There's no way I can get it. And we speak like that out of ignorance, because the fact is that it is already provided. It doesn't matter how big, no matter how impossible it seems. It is already provided, right? But we cannot access it if we are approaching it from our natural, our own human naturalness. We're not going to experience it. You know, we only can experience it from a spiritual perspective, when we align ourselves spiritually with our source. That's the time it's going to come to us, not by our own natural methods.
Actually, the next line, which says, I ask you to reveal the true reality of yourself to me, answers that question. Because if you do not know, you do not understand that all this stuff is already prepared for you, then you can ask the Father to reveal the true reality of himself to you. Because by doing that, then you will come to understand all these other things, how he's your life and your constant support and your health and your protection and the perfect fulfillment of every need and the highest inspiration. All this you will come to understand by going to the Father and asking. That's why he said, that's what you're asking him, to reveal the true reality of yourself to me. How many people know the true reality of God? You know, they may say, oh, God created the universe and God this and God that. But they do not understand the true reality of God in their lives.
Mm-hmm. Right. And a lot of what we consider the true reality of God in most instances, most cases, are just opinions, and these opinions are formed from a lot of in a lot of cases it's formed from our old way of thinking about God, and what is being passed down to us by some of our ancestors, because they understand God a certain way, and so based on how they understood God, they passed that down, and then these opinions has been accepted without questions, because anybody could make up their own reality about God, so-called reality about God. And a lot of people will accept it depending on how influential that person is, how important that person is in society, and if that, if that person is considered a great leader, popular leader, everybody knows him, and that kind of stuff, people will listen to him, her, and take those opinions of God and run with it and live their lives based on those so-called realities. So what this is saying is, don't take other people's reality of God, but go to him personally and ask him to reveal that to you, because God will reveal to us himself, or herself to us, when we ask and when we are truly hungry for that truth, right? You don't really need to read it in a book, right? Or if you're going to read it in a book, he will bring that book with that particular truth into your experience. You don't have to go searching for it, right? Because you see, God works with us and speak. Oh, I think Van has just disappeared. Oh, he's back. Right? Because God work through us work in, as they would say, mysterious ways. And we don't know how he's going to reveal himself to us. We don't know. And the problem we run into is when people believe that God should work in this way or that way, and they kind of put God in a box and say, if everything does not line up with this, then God has nothing to do with it. So the Bible said, right, that God created man in his own image, right? But basically what is happening here is that man create God in his own image. And that is really what is happening here. When everybody create God in their own image. And so we have to ask God about himself. So that is what this is saying. Show me, reveal to me the true reality of yourself.
And if you go on to the next line, it says, I know it is your will,
Mm-hmm.
Heavenly Father, your will, that I shall be fully illumined.
Yes.
So here just here the Father wants us to know that he wants us to know him, because once we know him, we become fully illumined or fully educated about God, or however, whichever term you want to use in terms of awareness. So that alone should tell us that we should always be seeking to be illumined by the Father, because there's nobody that can give you the truth or clear understanding of things like the Father. Anything else is just pure assumption.
That's true.
Yeah, everything else is pure assumption.
True. I agree.
All right. So,
Go ahead.
yes. No, you were going to say something else?
No, well, I was looking at how the last the last two lines actually runs into that. That I may better receive awareness of your presence within and around you. That you can only achieve if you are being fully illuminated or fully educated about Heavenly Father.
And actually that right there is like one of that section there is like one of my favorite part of the prayer itself. That I may receive the awareness of your presence
Within and around me.
within and around me. And that right there is very powerful, because when we understand what that is saying, we understand that God surrounds us like you have the air surround us always, and not only surround us but within us, because the oxygen that you breathe, the oxygen is we are engulfed in it, and we are breathing it, and it is in our blood. It's in our every cell, right? Every cell that we have, this oxygen is in it. It's in them, right? So if we look at God in that aspect, then we would understand that there has never been a time when he is not with us and within us. And if you look at it, it did not say it did not say please. The prayer did not say, I would like you to surround me and fill me, to come into me. It didn't say that. It is telling you that he is there, and we just need to become aware that he is there.
Right. And also, because of that I may better receive the awareness of your presence within and around me. All the other things going back up to the top of the prayer, that is why all those things are possible. The constant support, looking after my health, being my protection, my perfect fulfillment of every need, my highest inspiration. Because of all of that, because he's surrounding us, he has surrounded us, he's in every cell, in every bit of air that we breathe. Because of that, then all those other things can manifest themselves in our lives.
Right. And
it's a difference between saying, I feel like eating a hamburger from McDonald's. The difference between being home and say, I feel like eating a hamburger from McDonald's, actually being in McDonald's.
Right.
Because now you're surrounded by that. So whatever
Right.
you want is there, the fries, whatever. Anyway,
And this is showing, giving us a very intimate and close relationship with our source of being, because if he is within us and around us, then there is no need for us to be looking up into the sky when we are referring to him. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to be looking up into the sky, and we don't have to go to a particular place. Like, I mean, a lot of people go to church, and there's nothing wrong with going to church. The problem is if you think you're going there to meet God,
yeah.
and to have a relationship with God, it means that you really do not know anything about God, really,
Yeah.
right? Because this is telling you that you you want him to give you that awareness to understand that he is with you wherever you go. You can't shake him off. There's no way you could shake it. You know what I'm saying? You can't. It's like you can't shake the pigmentation of your skin. It's there. It's there for good.
He cannot, even if he decided that he doesn't want to be around you, he cannot do it.
Right.
That is unconditional. That's what unconditional love does.
Yeah.
No matter what the circumstances, no matter what you're feeling about the circumstances, you continue to support the individual.
Yeah.
That's the
Yep. So that right there is one of the most powerful parts in this prayer.
No, Seth, I think that we should finish here, and I think next week we can go into the other section.
Yes.
It gives Van some time to read, and this prayer is referred to as a meditation prayer simply because it is a prayer that is used before meditation, and then after meditation you can use it. But this will give you time to reflect on this in your own meditation. Read it and reflect on it, and I'm sure you will, next week you will have again a greater knowledge of what you're reading in front of you. It's not just a simple prayer, but it has a lot of depth to it. Actually, Steph and I have concluded that this meditation prayer is a synopsis of all 9 letters.
Yes.
It's a synopsis of the 9 letters.
Yeah.
So, but you still need to read the 9 letters individually. But this really takes you to a place that is unbelievable. And now, when you pray now, you can pray based on this kind of feeling, this kind of knowledge, this kind of knowing, and you'll see your prayers will be very different. The inspiration and your prayers will be very different.
Yeah, the good thing about it is that you don't have to pray the whole prayer every time. You could pick parts of it depending on your situation, depending on what you are experiencing at the time or what you hope to achieve. You could use different sections of the prayer at any time. You don't have to follow from the beginning to the end. This is just telling you, giving you an idea of how the Father operates, right, within us and for us, right? So it is, and it is encouraged for you to memorize it, right? It is because when you memorize it, I always say this. I don't know if it's gonna turn out to be a cliche or whatever it is. I don't know, but I always said you don't own it until you memorize it. Because if you have to read it to know it, then if you lose the text, then you lose everything. But once you memorize it, it can't be taken away from you. It is yours now.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the Lord's Prayer or the Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
When Catholics find themselves in difficult times in their life, they gravitate towards the Hail Mary, and that gives them peace of mind. It settles them. It helps them to think clearly, You know, same thing with the Lord's Prayer. When Christian people find themselves in difficult times, those that are not who are not very good at praying will gravitate towards the Lord's Prayer, and it gives them comfort. It gives them the people, you know, in war who, when they're about to got shot or something, about to die, they will either go to the Hail Mary if they're Catholic, or they say the Lord's Prayer if they're Christian, because this is the thing that gives them the hope and the courage that they will meet with the Father in the afterlife. So this, in a lot of ways, the Hail Mary and the Our Father is kind of like a begging prayer. It's like a beseech me prayer. But with this, the difference here is that you get to understand how the Father operates. And you come to know that He's protected you in perfect love, that your only purpose in life is to express Him. You know that He's universal, love and intelligence, and so on and so forth. So you don't have or wouldn't have the same kind of fear that the other person will have, or other people will have, because you already know. So if you're surrounded by a gunman or whatever, and you are able to be calm enough just to recite to yourself, any part of this, you know, you're my health, my life, my support,
my protection.
If you're able to do that with courage, because if you know that you are surrounded by the Father, then there's no fear. You need no fear. Even if those are your last moments here on this earth, you leave this place knowing that you are surrounded by the love of the Father. That's it. You know.
Yeah.
So prayer is not things that look at like this, and it may look like just a bunch of words, but it has a lot of depth to it.
Yeah.
We need to learn how to be courageous, you know, and learn how to die well if it comes to that.
Yeah.
Because as we were saying in the first set of it, nobody can take your life. Nobody can take it. It doesn't belong to anybody. As a matter of fact, the scriptures tell, Jesus says in the scriptures, do not be afraid of people who can hurt your body. Don't be afraid of them. If you have a fear of somebody who can hurt your spirit or hurt your soul, and nobody can.
I know that you say that, I will just say this, because when you look at it in this perspective, that if you believe that you create your own experience, if you believe in the law of cause and effect, that the things that you do is going to come back, manifest itself, then you will know that nobody can do anything to you, because everything that's been done to you, you have been doing it to yourself, basically. People are only the instruments.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Right? People are, Ivan, you there?
So I think my connection is going in and out a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm just wrap this up. So what I'm saying is that if we believe in cause and effect, that what we do comes back to us, then whatever anybody does to us are what we have called into our experience. Those people are only the instruments that are being used to bring these things to us that we have called in our experience. So even if the life is taken from the body, it's not somebody that has done it. They were just the instruments that were used to bring to us what we have called into our experience. And that is why you could say nobody can kill you.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, certainly.
Just to clear up some confusion that other viewers may have, because I can see how they're gonna link that to, well, does that explain how the harm that comes to so many innocents? Yes, it does in a lot of cases, but depending on where your perception and understanding of innocence is, again, so many people have different views. Some people believe in the past life, some people don't. If you do believe in the past life, then you have a better understanding how now you have even more understanding of cause and effect. If you don't, then there's still the law of growth in a sense that harm do come to those who are innocent, because the only way the spirit can grow is if it goes through a certain level of trials and tribulations.
But the question is,
you're absolutely right, Ivan, because when you open the statement, I thought to myself, I wonder if Van believes in reincarnation or past lives or whatever. So I don't know how we're going to answer this one. But then you answered it for yourself. Because once you consider past lives, it means that you're beyond the normal way of thinking. So you are 100% correct, and there's no need for me to say anything more about that.
yeah. And I know we got to go, but let me just add something to that real quick. When we see certain things happening to certain people, we will say a lot of times that, man, this person is innocent and this person didn't deserve this and all those kind of stuff. But we don't know the chain of actions that this person was involved in the first place. We don't know from birth until that time what that person was creating and calling into experience, and the thing that happened to the person at that time. You might say the person didn't do anything for that particular thing to happen, but the fact is, if the cop, listen, if you do something crazy, right, and the cops is coming to get you, maybe you were supposed to go to jail, right? Now, maybe you get off with that particular thing. You might get off, but maybe somebody might frame you later on, and you go to jail for something that you didn't do. You say you got framed. Yeah, you got framed. But what happened to that thing that you did, and you get a really good lawyer to get you off of it, so you believe you got away. So when you thought you got away, something come and happen down the road that everybody look at it, and that is what those people know about, that particular thing that you didn't do and you went to jail for it. But no, you didn't go to jail for that thing that you didn't do. You went to jail because of the things that you did, but that particular thing that they framed you for was just a vehicle to take you there. You know, so that's what that is. But you know, we as I said, we gotta move and get out of here. But if anybody doesn't have any more comments or questions, all right.
That's why, you know, that's why the master said, once you know the truth will set you free.
Truth will set you free.
You know, when you see certain things that seem very painful and they look very innocent, there's always a cause behind that effect.
Yes.
There's never effect without a cause.
Yeah.
There's always a reason. just like you said, we don't know the story.
We don't know the story.
Yes, we don't know
We don't know the full story. We know part of it, but we don't know the full story.
we know what we see in front of us, but we don't know what brought it up to that point.
Yeah. We see the tip of the iceberg, but we don't see underneath what's going on underneath the sea. You know.
Very clear. A very clear thing is look at Jesus on the fig tree. Well, later I will see that what that means, and there was what came out of that kind of crazy action, crazy thinking. You know, I want, even though it's not your season, I still want you to do X, Y, Z. And when you don't do X, Y, Z, I cut you down. But there's something waking up around the corner for me because of that.
Yeah. Cause and effect, man. Cause and effect. You can't get away with it.
In the universe, cause and effect is what works.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we should close out. How you want to do this? You want to close up with a prayer or something? Or what do you want? It's your night, so.
Yeah. No, we just want to, we just want to acknowledge that the important thing for us is to express our source of being, and the greatest expression is love.
Yes.
Right.
Unconditional
love. Yes, because nowadays I try to attach that to it, because everybody can love. Anybody can love, but the true kind of love which our being God is associated with is unconditional love, and that is our goal, and that is the hardest love to express. And when we get to that place, we will have reached, as the scripture itself even said, the kingdom of heaven. Right. So let's leave here with that prayer, that we will learn to express and exercise unconditional love.
Not easy, but hard.
It's not easy, but it's doable.
But actually, Jesus once said when he was walking around Palestine, that what good is it if you only love your friends? What about the enemy?
Right.
What good? I mean, if we only like each other, we like each other because we're on the same page or certain.
That's easy.
But what happens when somebody else jumps in on a crazy page? Huh? Can you give offer them the same level of respect? So it is a task, but it is not an impossible task.
And one thing, when we can understand and see that unconditional love in our Father, in our source, that's the time when we can even begin to start to express it, because we have to acknowledge it in Him first. We have to see it and feel it in Him first before we can express it. Right.
One quick thing.
Yeah.
To the love of the enemy that Richard said, Mr. Richard, you said, I've completely. It's hard. That is a continuous trial, but I like that in a sense. It comes from at least I like to take it from the ancient Kemetic story of Osiris and Set.
Okay.
And I was always told, like, where would you be without the setbacks of your enemies? So your enemies should actually be more appreciated, because they are the reason well, not the reason, but they are the outlet to giving you your greatest growth. Either you're going to grow or you're going to fail between with the enemy.
Well, the brother got the history. Okay, that is history there covered. So that is correct. Man.
Yeah.
So we're gonna,
Listen, we can go on all night.
but we ain't going on all night.
So we
we got other things to do. So hour and a half is enough. So we have now on the next Thursday to try to practice some unconditional love with somebody.
Yes, sir.
Somebody. I don't know. Well, it's small. Let's start with the small enemy first.
Is that disgusting person that is always causing us all kind of issues? The person who we want to see disappear, that's the person we gotta have to look at now and learn to love that person.
When you're reaching this level, you're not supposed to have any enemies. So, hey.
Yes.
I guess I'm gonna have to take an F on that assignment now.
Well, listen. You get an A for admission.
Yeah, you're right. Listen, man. The most important thing is to be able to acknowledge yourself. That's the way you grow. You know, if you're thinking that you're perfect and you're all that, you ain't never gonna move and go anywhere.
Yeah.
But when you're at, you know, it's like all
and that's a goal.
Radio all up into that either. But you know, you work on it. You work on it.
And that is the goal of all of this, what we're doing here too, you know, to help us to get to that place of expressing unconditional love.
I don't think you can have an easy. It's a hard.
It's a life. It's a life
lifelong course that you're on. When it comes.
Yeah.
You don't have a master's course. A lifelong course.
Listen, I'm struggling with that big time too. You know what I'm saying? And, so it's not no easy road, bro. It's not no easy road.
And the thing is that sometimes the ego will jump out before you even get time to figure out about the unconditional love. You know, he's a man that like to jump up quick.
Yes.
Listen, man.
Yes.
I was struggling with just the regular love, and then unconditional love came into the picture.
It's like you didn't even let me finish your Kool-Aid, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, hold up a little, man. Give me a chance here. Let me get a handle on this one first.
But that's we got to walk the path of laughter and laugh at yourself a lot, because that's the way that we will overcome whatever we need to overcome and control.
Yes, sir.
Brothers, it was a pleasure.
Yes.
Ron, it's good to see you again, brother. And I hope that
Good to see y'all. I enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll get some more like-minded people, and it'll take a minute, but it's all good. The father got this under control.
Yeah, man. Listen, man, we're doing good.
With or without them, I'm down. I love this type of knowledge, and I'm glad I'm part of it.
Yeah, me too, because you learn, you learn when you're together, you really learn, because you listen to different ideas or different perspectives on the particular thing, and it opens you wider and wider and wider.
Yeah.
Brothers, have a good night, man. I'm out.
All right, good night, y'all.
We'll talk.
All right, Seth, enjoy yourself, man.
You too, bro. All right, I will.
All right.
Take care. Good night.
Good night, brother.